What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Happy Monday. So if you've read the title of this video, we are talking about my beloved Seiko Tuna SBBN 031. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing it a bit looser than normal because it's been consistently hot here in Southern California. So this is a very handsome watch, but surprisingly, it's a bit controversial as well. It's a 48 millimeter, it's 14.7 millimeters thick. It's got that gorgeous double domed hardlex crystal and a 300 meter water resistance rating. But if I bring you up close and we look at the dial, you'll notice the second hand is ticking, okay? It's not sweeping because it's a quartz. That's right, it is battery powered. Now, if that's not enough to throw you into a frenzy, maybe when you notice that the price tag is around $1,300, you'll start to freak out a bit. A $1,300 battery powered watch? Now listen up, okay? If you are irrationally against anything battery powered, then this video probably will not convince you otherwise. But if you're interested in learning a little bit, a tiny bit about the 7C46 movement that is inside of this Seiko Tuna, then stay tuned. It's 3:09 p.m. Let's get down to business. Now guys, let's face it, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, this isn't really that technical of a channel because I'm not a nerd, right? I'm not a nerd. But today, if you bear with me, it's not going to be totally technical, but we are going to take a look at the 7C46 movement. We're going to try to figure out why it's so unique, why it's so special, and why I don't think it's just another quartz movement. Alrighty, so it's not just another quartz movement, but it is a quartz movement. So why is the 7C46 movement so special? Well, for one thing, the 7C46 movement is essentially exclusive to the Seiko Tunas, so to kind of understand this further, let's take a look at the Tuna itself. The Seiko Tuna was designed by Seiko engineer Mr. Iku Tokunaga to be incredibly rugged, tough, reliable, and efficient in extreme environments and under heavier than normal loads. So what does all that mean? Now, as many of you know, because I've said it in other videos, the Seiko Tuna was designed for saturation diving. Now, saturation divers spend an extended period of time working at pretty extreme depths in kind of rigorous conditions, and they need a tough watch. Now, if I bring you up close and we take a look at the hands on this Tuna once again, you'll notice they're very thick and robust, and these big strong hands offer some really good visibility and strength in some pretty extreme conditions, and not just any movement will cut it. So mechanical movements, as much as I love them, and I shouldn't even have to say it, the majority of my watches are mechanical, most of which being automatic. They're just a little bit too fragile for those harsh working conditions, and quartz watches, although they are less vulnerable, they're not that efficient. So moving these big robust hands, it would just totally drain the battery life. So how do we get strength and efficiency? Well, you start by making the quartz movement almost exclusively out of metal components, the housing being titanium alloy. Ooh, fancy. Now, most quartz movements are predominantly plastic or composite materials, so this is a big step up. Next, you gotta add 7 joules to this movement, okay? Most quartz movements don't have any joules, so that means this has less friction within the movement, higher efficiency, which means longer battery life. All right, so you got some added strength there with all the metal components and the titanium alloy housing, and all those joules in there add a little bit more efficiency. So still, what's so special about this watch? Well, they've added a bit more bells and whistles, if you will. Okay, I have them listed here. You got anti-magnetic and thermal compensation, and you got helium and nitrogen gas prevention and dispersion. I don't know what any of that means, but what you're left with is a multi-jouled, fully metal, fully serviceable quartz movement, and that's really unique. Also, most quartz watches, I think this goes without saying, they're non-serviceable. You can't service them at all. So this is pretty cool. Also, the battery life lasts about 5 years, and there is an end-of-life indicator. And I know I'm gonna get a ton of comments being like, oh, I have a quartz watch that lasts way longer, or oh, I'm just gonna stick with my G-Shock, it's tougher and it's cheaper, or oh, Vostok Amphibia. Well, yeah, if you don't appreciate over-engineering at its best, then definitely don't get this watch. But you cannot deny that the 7C46 movement in this Seiko Tuna is one of the most advanced quartz movements you can get. So yeah, guys, I hope this video helped you out a little bit. I hope you learned something. Did you learn something? Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Also, I know I'm gonna get a bunch of quartz haters, and I know I'm gonna get a bunch of quartz lovers that just hate the price tag of this watch, but honestly, it is so unique and over-engineered, I think it's worth every penny. And if you're interested in getting a Seiko Tuna for yourself with one of these awesome 7C46 movements, you can find them in links in the description below, or you can can jump over to the Time Teller shop. I add new watches and watch accessories to that store daily. You can even find a Seiko Tuna there, so click the link in the description below, shop around. It really does help the channel out a ton, so thank you so much for that. And if you're new here, maybe this is your first time joining us here on the Time Teller channel, I want to say thank you so much for stopping by, but go ahead, click that subscribe button. It takes 1 second, it helps me out a ton. While you're at it, you can go ahead and click that little bell icon so you do not miss an episode of the Time Teller. There is just so much more awesome content on the way, and you don't want to miss it. I'm telling you guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with other watch enthusiasts, other people that you think would enjoy this. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time, I just tell it.